thoughts are like a bright symphony. I'm simply changing everything that I begin to see mentally, but physically.
Holy shit. Making this video, oh my god, making this video was just... This video is actually supposed to come out in May, and because USPS and even myself were really retarded, now it's in basically July. So my apologies, and USPS's apologies for anyone that still cares. So anyways, here we have the 3DS and the PS Vita. Nintendo saw a huge success with their DS line, and saw a new market, and ironically this market died terribly. So they wanted to refresh the DS line with a new line. And of course, that is the 3DS. Now just a disclaimer. Now for those of you that read what I said about the 3DS, thankfully I did a review on the 3DS XL like 3 years ago. So I do have footage of a DS because I'm going to talk about the interface and the camera and stuff. But thankfully that's not the main focus, so this will still work out. It really pisses me off when I can't do something the way that it should be done. I'm just a really big perfectionist. Probably not a big deal for some of you, but it annoys me a lot. And for Sony, after the PSP Street didn't really do well, they were like, okay, let's just make a whole new just handheld console line. So they made the PS Vita. And for some of you that don't know, Vita means life. I think we can both agree PlayStation is life. So anyways, let's go to the sales. So as of 2017, the 3DS has around 64 million sales according to VG charts. And the PS Vita has 15.6 million sales. So we'll talk about in a second why this is failing. I mean, clearly these numbers are better than the Wii U, but the PS Vita should be having more sales like the PSP did with its 80 million. So finally, let's begin the video.
Notepad in a distant dream, but distance ain't an obstacle, that's too much.
The PS Vita has an array of features that are brand new, and some that are brought from the PSP. One very unique thing that the PS Vita had was a touchpad on the back. It's not really the most exciting thing, but it's been used in some clever ways. For the most part, unless you actually need it for the game, it's as useless as it is on the DualShock 4, but still a very cool feature. Speaking of the DualShock 4 though, there's also something that I'm pretty sure a lot of you know, and that is remote play. So for me, because my internet is incredible, as you can see, I'm able to play this at a very well resolution, great frames. It's not 60 frames, probably because I didn't tamper with the settings. I have used remote play to play PS4 games on my PC, and I have been able to play them at 60 frames, but as you can see, right now I'm playing GTA 5 and also Fallout 4 in a second at a very smooth frame rate. And by the way, I was talking to my friend on Skype while this was happening, so yeah, the connection for me is really good. Now, remote play is not a Wii U type of feature. You can actually take your PS Vita, as long as you're connected to the internet, you can actually stream your PS4 and PS3 games anywhere. That's also why there's a 3G PS Vita. So yeah, even if you just get a PS Vita on eBay without any games, as long as you have a PS4 or PS3 with some games, you're all set. And also a decent internet. So you may be wondering, how far can this go? Well, I found a YouTuber that claims that he was 5,000 miles away from his PS4, and yeah, it connected fine. And honestly, I'm not surprised, because with stuff like Skype, yeah, this technology has been around for a while. All it's doing is streaming, so yeah, pretty basic. The only problem though is that if you're away from your house and you're the type of person that likes discs, unless there's someone home, yeah, you're gonna be stuck on one game. Also, the Vita has a camera, because why not? And the camera's pretty decent. Clearly this is not something that Steven Spielberg is gonna use for his next movie, but yeah, it's pretty good for 2011. Now, other than that, you can also message friends and even join parties and stuff. It truly is like a portable PlayStation. I guess the only minor complaint before I talk about, in another part of this video, the problems. This is just a personal complaint that I'm pretty sure not many people care about, but I'm not really a big fan of the OS. I sort of like how the PSP emulated the PS3's interface. That's just my opinion. Clearly something that doesn't like stop me from using it. But yeah, it's just looks a little bit weird. And to top it off, there's also cross-buy, which means that you can play certain games like Minecraft without having to buy it again on your PS Vita, or vice versa. Just like the name says, the 3DS's main feature is the 3D. Now, I've experienced the 3DS's 3D for like 3 years now, and sort of does pop. Now, of course, before the new 3DS came out, if you looked at the 3DS at a certain way, you could begin to see how the layers are cutting out and stuff, and it begins to look all like, whoa. Now, honestly, for me, I can't use the 3D. It really hurts my eyes and it irritates it. I'm not sure, if anyone else has that issue, but I just can't stand the 3D for like so long. Other than that, it has a camera, and with this camera you can actually take photos in 3D. Clearly, you can't view those photos in 3D like on your computer or anything. So I don't really know why else you would have it. Other than that, the camera is also used for a few augmented reality games, your sort of Pokemon Go type of games for the 3DS. Yeah, the cameras on both of these are not really needed that much. Maybe on the DSi it was like, you know, a pretty cool feature, but now it doesn't really need to exist. It also had a pretty interactive feature called Street Pass. It's a pretty interesting way to make friends. I would mostly just go to Disney and just walk around and just get like a fuck ton of new friends. And you can use Street Pass not just to show how many people you've passed by that also have a 3DS that happen to have it on sleep mode with the clam closed, but you can also play little mini games in the Street Pass application. And the only way to progress in the game is to just find more people that just walk around and just get more Street Passes. And there are certain games that can use this for like multiplayer and stuff. Yeah, it worked pretty well. Though you can't join parties on the 3DS, the 3DS does have its own messaging app called Swapdoodle. And I'm pretty sure the name is self-explanatory.
Watch it and try and stop it, but all I do is block it. Straight lock it up, my cash started right.
Oh my god, where do I start? There are a lot of games. I'm pretty sure I said this during the PSP versus DS video, but there are a ton of games. And I know for a fact there's gonna be comments that are like, you forgot to mention this game. Like I said before, I might as well just mention every game that came out, because everyone's different, everyone has their own opinion. I'm just picking a few. If you'd like to call it a honorable mention, you can do so. So anyways, here they are. Even though, like I just said, the Vita doesn't really have the hugest amount of games, there are some really good games, like Uncharted, Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified. For those of you that want a good game that also uses the touchpad on the back, Little Deviants is also a good game. Little Big Planet. Of course, the GTAs. Asphalt Injection is also pretty good. I'm pretty sure a lot of huge Vita fans are probably waiting for me to say this, but of course, Persona 4. Now, personally, I've not played it, but Jesus Christ. There are so many people that I know that have Vitas, that have Persona 4. And I have to get this game. So many people are saying so many good things about it that I have to try it out. And there's also Minecraft, yeah. Now for the 3DS, there's Mario Kart 7, Super Smash Bros, New Super Mario Bros 2, anything that has Pokemon in the title, anything that has Monster Hunter in the title, Metroid, Samus Returns, Super Mario Maker, and Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon.
But the ones that's inside of my pocket, while I pocket some of these private niggas.
So the PS Vita cleared up a lot of issues that the PSP had, like the back battery breaking, the very weird, awkward mini discs, and for some PSPs, the battery dying like just randomly. That's why on eBay you see a lot of PSPs that say dead battery. There's something that the Vita does that makes no sense whatsoever. If you like downloading digital games, when this thing first came out, the SD cards were absurdly priced. The highest one, which was a 32 gigabyte SD card, was like $120. Like, you have to be kidding me. I could get a SanDisk Ultra 200 gigabyte micro SD card for $77. And probably some people are gonna be like, well, that was 6 years ago. SD cards were probably more. I mean, I can sort of like see what you're saying, because with the older iPhones, like an 8 gigabyte iPhone was like, I got a ton of money. But still, even in that time, you could get SD cards for like way less. Now, why did Sony do this? Because money. Let's be honest. I mean, I can't really blame them. Money is an amazing thing. But like, this price is almost as much as the Vita itself. In fact, I got my Vita on eBay for $100. So this SD card is worth more than a used PS Vita. That's sad. Now, I've heard a few complaints about like battery issues, and all you have to do is just take out the battery and put it back in and stuff like that. I haven't experienced that yet, so I'm not going to jump to say that's an issue, but for the first gen models, not the Slim, just the first gen, that's something to take a note about. And other than that, I mean, the PS Vita isn't really acknowledged that much anymore. And there are a lot of amazing games for the Vita, but there's only a few. Like, we have a Need for Speed game, a Call of Duty game, but like it's only one. And I think that's something that sort of hurt the Vita. The Vita didn't sell terribly. It did way better than the PSP Go, but it got really outsold by the 3DS. And I think it really just was because Nintendo had some pretty good exclusives. So yeah, the Vita sort of had the Wii U syndrome. It didn't have it completely. There are a lot of great games on the Vita, but it was really like having those sort of symptoms, not diagnosed, but just on the edge. Now for the 3DS, some of the problems I have to do with the 3D, like I've said before, so I'm not going to go over it again. But it's also having issues with games. Mainly that it doesn't have third-party support. The only difference though is that unlike the Wii U, the 3DS was still successful, and that's mostly just because of the games, like I said before. Other than that, I mean, the graphics don't look as impressive as you would see on the Vita. Clearly, that's something that not many people care about. More people care about the game more than how it looks. But you'd think that there would be, for certain games, a little bit more of an advancement. And other than that, I would just have to say, there aren't really a lot of useful features that would convince me to buy one. Now clearly, as you can see, I have two. That's just because I want to get the newest games that come out. That's mostly why consoles still go on till this day. And maybe just a tiny minor complaint as well. Nintendo kept on releasing a new 3DS every couple of years, which sort of is a big middle finger to your wallet. Because, you know, if you bought the 3DS XL, only a few years later, they released one that's even better. Or if you bought the original 3DS, which was like $250. Yeah, it sort of makes your investment look bad. And I know that we have that type of society now, especially with smartphones. And we have seen this before with the DS line, DSi, DSi XL, But between the 3DS XL and the new 3DS, I have no idea. Don't get me wrong, the new 3DS is a great product, but was there really any point of making it?
Too much, I'm closer than you think to the stars, nigga, look up. See an adolescent with a...
So to conclude, both of these devices came around a very transitional time. A time when companies like Apple and Android were beginning to become more accessible to more people, and apps became more of a normal thing, and there were more free games. So when you compare the 3DS and PS Vita sales to the DS and the PSP sales, they're not the same, even though they have improved a lot. And they have a lot of cool features. This isn't some sort of Sega Saturn situation. There are enough titles to hold both of these consoles with great sales, but due to the fact that there's other competition, that's really what hurt these two, especially Sony. And also the SD cards. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Begin to see mentally, but physically I plan to change history with a pen, notepad, and a distant dream. But distance ain't an obstacle, that's too much. I'm closer than you think to the stars, nigga, look up. See an adolescent with impressive rhymes, chasing dimes, not the kind that want cash, but the ones that's inside.